Ba, 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 ba. Da, 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 da. Hey, this is Tony Ross, and welcome to day 2 of the 2D Animation Virtual Summit. Just getting a few things going here. Okie dokie. So, what are we doing? What are we doing? One, we're going to the correct program. And two, let's turn off that. There we are. So, yeah, we have a few things going on for today. First up, well, we have our first panelist coming through today. I'm not looking at my sheet. Who's up first? So at 10:15, we'll have. Hold on one second. I know this. La 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 la. Okay, I know this. Okay, cool. So at 10:15, Susana Rodriguez is going to be doing a demo. She's illustrating a fairy, fairy baker actually. So, and then at 11:15, we have Josephine Ruff Sloan is going to be giving us some tips on social media as far as artists. I think a lot of times we're always complaining like, I just want to draw. I don't feel like I need to do all this extra stuff. So she is beyond awesome with that, and so she's going to be sharing with us some tips on that. And then after lunch, we're going to break for lunch at about, oh yeah, what is that? Noon our time. But at 1:15, we're going to have Marisa Livingston, the character design lead on Star Trek Lower Decks. That's going to be hanging out with us, and yeah, that ought to be pretty cool. Meanwhile, so while we're waiting on that, let's get back with what's happening with our little crazy vampire cat there. Oh, wait a minute. Hold that thought. Let me give my hellos. Hey, Eric. Adam, what's going on, dude? Da, 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 da. Hey, Allison. 2D animations. What's going on there? Eric's sound is good and picture is clear. That is excellent to hear. I really appreciate that. Hey, Howard, what's going on, man? So I'm getting back, and I love using this. It's like literally playing like a DJ. I'm sitting up here with between playing with Ecamm Live and also I'm playing around with what is it? My Rodecaster Pro, which is one why my sound sounds that way. I've got a decent XLR mic feeding into this thing, and also doing really crazy, creepy things like bringing on sound effects because of my little Rodecaster. Anyway, I'm having too much fun. But we're not here for that. We are here to figure out what the hell is going on with our cat. Um, so let me dive over here. When we last left, I was trying to figure out a. It's like I want to figure out a way, but not a crazy way. How do we set up a decent mask to make our little cat blink? And I'm still kind of debating on that. One of the things I could do, and again, this is that little weird thing of do I want to add a full mask for everything? Because right now, let's see, we have our little eye mask here. Where's my deformer? There we are. Right now we have this crazy eye mask going on, and I like and I hate it at the same time. It Does it do the job? Sort of. Um, I don't know. I think I would feel a little better with it doing something a little different. And it might be that I just do drawing subs to actually kind of close that out. So what do I mean by that? I simply mean that I would draw out the shape and just like manipulate it over several frames versus having a deformer. All right. We did get the tongue or the mouth working correctly though. So literally I have a peg attached to the tongue here. I have one attached to the mouth. I have the mouth shape in the back there. Let's see. One thing I'd like to do. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da. Why is that bugging me? You know, I probably could just do it a different way and just kind of bring it in. Ah, okay, cool. What if instead, let me get rid of this guy here. Go back to my node view. Let's get rid of the eye mask. I'm going to throw this one away. Go bye-bye. Yes, delete. Thank you. What if I made a quote-unquote eyelid? And the eyelid is only visible as far as where the shape is. So what I could do is make a basic crazy little shape here. So I'm going to make a little shape up top. Let's do Command R, Control R on PC. We'll call this our eyelid. That's the crazy thing about working in Harmony. It's kind of like the Photoshop of animation, and let me explain. I've been using Photoshop since before it had layers. Yes, it didn't always have layers. Anyway, the point is, everyone and their mother does something in Photoshop totally different. Even if they follow the exact same tutorials, everyone's going to add their own little flavor onto how they arrive at a certain thing. It's that whole 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 1 is 4, 8 minus 4 is 4. So everyone has a totally different way of handling it, but you can still get there. So let me just call out the eyelid for now. Let's call you a 1 just in case. And we'll do add and close. Where are we on time? La 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 la. Great. All right. So what I'd like to do is come over here. Grab my rectangle tool, grab my color. Let me grab the mask color for a moment here. Make sure I'm in my node view. Here's the eyebrow. Oh yeah. I was like, dude, where is the eyelid? You didn't connect that to a comp yet. Let's connect that in. Thank you. And I'll click and drag this ugly little shape here for a moment. And we'll grab our contour editor. Let's bring this point here. Is your snapping on? I think it is. Turn it off. Okay. Bring this point here-ish. Bring this point here. And then hold down my shift key. Bend this little guy here. I could probably add another point there. And that way we can officially make that like that. Bring you over there maybe. But what I could do here, fill this guy in, and we'll get rid of the out parts of that. And this is how I'm going to actually control my little lids here and just kind of manipulate it that way. Because again, we can make something go larger, but not smaller. So that's going to be our little trick. All right. But enough about that. Where are we on time? Oh, wait, I do have a couple minutes. So let's do this. Dude, you're on overlay. That's cool. Can we copy this? Actually, do we need to copy it? Make sure that line is exactly where we need it to be. It's right on top of there. Okay, so this little color here, let's cut that. Go to our line art. Thank you. Paste. Thank you. And what if we added a deformer here? So we'll click add a deformer. Start there, start here, come down to the corner. Yes, please. Click one here, the opposite direction, one at the bottom, and hold on our Option key, Alt on PC, and close that out. And we can adjust this little dude so it's where it needs to be. There we are. Excellent. Which this means I'll be able to switch the color on this. Well, preferably be able to switch the color on that and make that work for us. All right. Not terrible. And we'll do one last little thing. Change that color. Probably. Do we have a cat color? Probably. Dude, where are your colors? Na 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 na. I think it's there. I guess that'll work. Give him some nice dark little eyes there. Go to my node view. And this little guy I only want showing up, so I add a cutter. CUT. Pull this in. And I would like the eye here to be in charge of that. Double click. And what I basically did was that's there, but I should be able to do the following, hopefully. Yes, that works a lot better. Dagnabbit. Okay. That I'm cool with. All right. Anyway, when we get back, I'll explain to you exactly what I did. Meanwhile, it is time for our first panelist here. Where's my panel? Thank you. Good day, everyone. Good vibes. Good vibes to you, Darren. All right. So let me bring on our first guest here. See if I can do this correctly. All right. So the way these are going to be set up is some of our interviews, like me meeting with Susanna, that went over 45 minutes. The full interview is going to be available in our playlist next week, but I think we found a sweet spot around 45 minutes that this will stop. But she is doing I think we did a prompt. We did an on-the-spot prompt for like wow. It was a fairy baker. So, baker fairy? Fairy baker. Anyway, so let me bring her on. Hey, this is Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit, and I have the pleasure of sitting with the talented Miss Susanna Rodriguez.
Hello.
I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
So yes, thank you for joining us. And this is, I think, your second year with us. So thanks for coming back. I really appreciate that. So Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about you, for those who don't know anything about you?
I am a professional illustrator from Brazil. I live in Sao Paulo. And I have been working for the past 10 years with children's books illustrations. So it's a, it's a lot, but it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't exchange for anything. I also work with animation, with character design. And that's pretty much it. And not major studios. I still work with smaller studios, but sometimes it's the best way to get in touch with people. Sometimes big studios can be a little bit difficult, but that's pretty much it. I'm decided this year to go with a tutorial, and I believe we have two choices here. You want cute pinups, or you want cute anything else?
Ooh. Let's flip a coin on that one. What would you like to do?
I'm okay with both because since I work with children's books illustrations, I like to draw cute things. It's something that I enjoy very much. And sometimes people tend to misunderstand how cute works because there is a balance. So if you want to work with something cute, you don't need to make it so exaggerated, but at the same time, you can make something simple. And that's the fun of it. People tend to think, oh, cute stuff, it's nothing. But cute is really hard to do. It's something that I have learned with one of my teachers. It's all about balance. But I can do a cute little pinup. Oh, great cloud, not now. If you want,
That sounds cool.
Not so let's see, give me a prompt. Like, what kind of cute you want? You want a fairy, a mermaid, or just a cute little girl?
Ooh. I'm going to go with I think I want to cook, but I also want them to be probably a fairy, some sort of baker or something.
So a baker fairy. Okay. So the first thing, since you gave me a prompt, so it's a baker. She's a baker. And she's a fairy. It's basic character design 101 for everybody that wants to know. It's simple. Sometimes the clients just give this information. Sometimes you can ask, do you want the character, how much you want? Or you can do different versions. So let's see. She's a baker. First of all, when I'm doing my process, sometimes I'll go hunting for reference. And by the way, everybody, reference is really important. So you can look at, sometimes I look at my own work, or I go around on the internet. So I look for, let's see, for a baker, she can be chubby, skinny, but let's see. I'm going to draw two versions here. She's a fairy. When I'm doing cute girls, sometimes people, oh, what proportions? For cute, you want to go soft, a lot of rounds. People like, oh, a lot of round things. Yeah. And I think that round is the way most of the time. But you can do a cute, tall fairy if you want, a really cute one. So you can go, variety is also important. Sometimes I do this process. By the way, if everybody wants to know, I'm left-handed too. So it's another thing that I like to work on digital. It's make it simple. But I usually try to go on in one way. Like, for example, you gave me a prompt. So these are the two bodies that I might want to work with. So but you can look for other alternatives. Sometimes I like to recommend, I don't teach, by the way. So I'm basically describing what I usually do. Is that, oops, let's go here. I start drawing since it's just a little warm. So I have these two bodies. Let's say I'm going to, oh, come on, Photoshop, work with me today. So let's see. Since she is a baker, she can, I like to, for me, I like to draw big eyes, but I'm going to show how you can make cute with dot eyes. You can actually, one of my major professional styles is with dot eyes, and it can be really, really cute. But since she's a baker, let's see. I think I'm going to make her, how about I make her a fairy that she is likes to bake. By the way, silhouette is also so really important. So be aware of that. But at this early in the process, go loose so she can have. I usually start not with hair or anything like that. I try to define the pose first. So even her race, I try to check later on. So this is a base. Sometimes I like to draw without noses. I think it's the the bad influence of Powerpuff Girls in me. That is one of my inspirations. I think it's really, really cute. But also, I decided, oh, I'm going to push her here. Since she is a baker, maybe she can have, you want her to be wearing pants or you want her to be with a skirt?
I don't know. It's like, I think
You're my client here. I'm gonna pretend that you're my client. So I'm giving you options. It's one thing I learned from my teacher is always ask, because sometimes the client is unsure, so you give them options. But like this, she's still bald here, but let's see.
I think I like the idea of pants.
So you want her with pants. Always flip your canvas, your drawing, so you can fix. I like to fix a lot of things with the tools, with modifying tools. I think it's a really useful thing. It also helps you to check if the drawing is unbalanced. So you can fix up some things or not. I think it's really important because people sometimes forget to flip their canvases and it can get really, really messy. I'm going to look for like this. Okay, this is the first sketch. She has a basic. So let's see. Then I go to the face. If you want to work with, work with dotted eyes, you can make them far apart. And it's also all about the placement of the eyes. So she can become really cute. I'm going to make her African American because I think it's suitable for her and it will make her cute. So she will. So let's do two versions here. She will be African American. What kind of hair you want her? Want her with braids, a looser hair? What kind of hair you would like her to have?
Can we do Afro puffs?
Afro puffs. Okay. So I just finished a book that the main little girl has a really, really cute puff, by the way.
Oh, cool.
So since she's a baker, she has to have her puff tied, right? Because we don't want it falling anywhere. It's important. Always tie your hair when you're baking or cooking, everybody. Another tip for me to you. It's a tutorial also how to bake. So, okay. With dot eyes, I'm going to explain this really simple. She can have, I like to do eyes that sometimes they can be close. So you can do like this, or you can do them really far apart. The eyebrows are always your guide where the character is looking. So you can imply like this if you want the expression to be clear.
Okay.
The simple lines. But you can make the eyes a lot smaller. But for animation, you have to really be careful with that because you won't get reading if they are way too small. I know people like to, but smaller eyes, like in books, they work. Like they work really, really well. But with animation, sometimes you have to be really careful. The eyebrows are always your guide if you want to work with dot eyes. I'm going to show, but I'm going to make her with big eyes. That's the anime part of me, my past. I'm throwing there my past. I used to draw a lot of in the anime style, but I really like big eyes. I think they make the drawings really, really cute. And that's the point, right?
Right.
So she's going to have her cute little puff here and another one here. Let me push the drawing down here. She's going to be here. A lot of this, I really go with the flow, because sometimes, of course, when you're dealing with a client, they can be difficult, right? They can, oh no, we wanted her to not have puffs, or we wanted. So we be always, is a tip that I'm going to give everybody here. Be always open for change because people will change, your drawings will change. You can be ready to fight if you want to see if it's working or not. And you say, oh, but this one is working. Why change it, right? But sometimes you don't have a choice. Sometimes the colors are the colors of the company, but for example, or the colors of what the art director asked for. So you don't have a choice. So you have to work around. It's not a problem. I think that in 10 years of working, it's a lot of things that you can do. Okay, we have here. Since she's flying, I'm going to give her, let's say, give not that big, not much big wings because it's going to be bothersome for her work. And I think I'm going to put her hands on her hips. And her one will be, you want to be all, I'm going to make it a whisk.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's fun. She mix everything up with her magical whisk and she bakes off. Sometimes with hands, it's a little bit complicated. I hope I'm not making everything too boring, by the way, because I'm not a teacher. I'm really, some of my followers on Instagram, they ask me, oh, why don't you teach? Because I'm not a teacher. Sometimes I believe people do have a talent to teach. I think teaching is a really talent. And I don't think I have it. First of all, because I'm really shy. I'm battling my shyness here. So I hope everybody is okay with that. Because
Well,
I'm really shy. I'm really shy. But let's see. She's going to have this cute little. She's wearing her pants, and
I will
she
say this.
has.
One, I love teaching, and I think I'm very good at teaching. What I can tell you, I also think you're good at teaching, whether you know it or not, because I've learned a few things just listening to you, like you just listening to what you were teaching about. If you're going to do the dots for the eyes, this is how you would actually do this, and this is how you can actually do this. The whole thing with the eyebrows and everything like that. And I'm like, there are so many tidbits. I'm like, I am okay with not writing notes because I know I've got this recorded so I can come back and play it again. But yes, I've learned a lot just sitting here so far. So I disagree. I think
But believe me, I'm not very good. My dad is actually is a really good teacher. By the way, he teaches a lot about art direction. By the way, I know I am an exception, but my mom is also a children's book illustrator, and my dad is an art director. So I was raised around a lot of art. So a lot of art in our household. My brother is the black sheep. He doesn't draw. He doesn't work with art.
Oh wow.
My older brother, he works in another field, but it's okay. My parents didn't force him or anything like that. Also, it doesn't help that he's colorblind too. So I think that.
Oh wow. Okay.
It didn't help him around. He actually writes, but he's more like a journalist, not a writer, a fictional writer.
Okay.
But it's okay. It's still in our area. Like my dad also writes too, but we work a lot. I grew up with watching them work, so it's my first inspiration. I sometimes people ask me, "Oh, but how do your parents reacted?" I don't know because I had a different upbringing, so I work around art. My parents always took me to museums. I am privileged to live in a city that has a lot of museums, expositions about everything. São Paulo is a really good city. I know that even in the US, it's really hard to come by like that culture. It's really difficult to have access to. And I think it's really sad because we need culture. I know the internet helped a lot, everybody, but one tip I can give everybody, we live in a generation that we have a lot of access for culture. We have the internet around us, but just go to the library and see and check every single book. And when I say check every single book that has illustrations, I'm talking like when you go to the children's book section. It's one of my favorite places to go, even when I'm in a bookstore, because I check what people are drawing, what they do. Sometimes I buy books not for the story, but for the illustrations.
Okay.
I like, the story. I don't like the story, but the book is really well illustrated. So I stay with it. It's a little, but it's a little tip, because don't be afraid to risk and to check other people's work. I know people, I don't want to be influenced by someone, but to be honest, we are missing out. I think everybody has a little bit to give. Like, for example, one of my favorite artists is Lauren Faust. And you can see I am very much influenced by her style, but I also check other artists, even back in the day, like really all the illustrators for very different stories or books. It's really fun, like Mary Blair and the Provincents. And even that, it's not the world. You can find even with smaller artists. By the way, I think that her design is almost done. I think. What do you think? Do you like
I'm
her?
really liking it. Yeah.
You can give her a name if you want. What fairy name she has, since she's a baker?
I don't know. Let me get back to you on that one. I'm curious.
But what else you want to know? What I think
what- I'm actually curious. Are you using any particular type of brushes in Photoshop?
I actually this brush here I can't give away, but by the way, it's a really good class, really good class by Matthew Krafenberg. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on Skillshare.
Okay.
And it's really good because he teaches a lot of good techniques to finish artworks to render using Illustrator alongside Photoshop. And in his classes, he gave away this brushes. So I don't share it, but I love drawing with it. It's really soft. This one and this one here. It's a really neat texture.
Oh, that is nice.
I'll probably, I think I'm going to use for her puffs.
Okay, that works.
Does it look cute? That works for her puffs. Let me feel. But it's a really good brush to sketch out. There are also another thing I like to go to look for is Photoshop brushes. So I'm always looking around. I'm going to finish here. I hope I'm not making myself like people. I hope everybody understands that I'm trying to share as much as possible with the time frame we have here, because it's not much, but I did a lot from memory here. Because another tip I can give everybody that wants to draw is do a lot of gesture drawings, because you only improve your memory library, like for poses, like, oh, she's a fairy, she's flying, but she has her little magical whisk here. So, and since I like biking, I know how a whisk looks like. So I don't need reference, but again, I train a lot. So I think that I know, but for example, for her hand here, I'm struggling a little bit. The other one, not, because I already know, but always train, always look for every single way possible to improve your work. There is no magic, right? You have to train, you have to look. Like, for example, now sometimes I do 5, 4, even 7 sketches. Even when I'm rendering, I go back and stop. Another thing that I've learned with my 10 years of working professionally, sometimes when you're stuck, get up and do other things. Like stop, because your eyes can be deceiving you. I think that's probably the word I'm looking after. By the way, guys, English is not my first language. So if I mix up certain things, it's not because I want to. Sometimes it slips mind. Sometimes you have to translate a lot of things in your head to speak another language. So it can be a little bit difficult. But one thing I like that a lot of people tend to forget it. I think novices and people that are just starting out, they kind of become afraid to make mistakes. I know that I've also started doing that, and don't be like I had a teacher that told me, like, you have to at least do like 100 thousands of drawings, and like you're only going to like 2 from those. It's not wrong to make mistakes. Actually, it's way better to make mistakes, because when you do a lot of mistakes, you in the future know how to avoid them. Look at a little tip here. You end up having so much in your memory that, oh, how about that? We can avoid this. Or you can choose to make that mistake. I think, for example, oh, what I mean about that is, like, for example, I know her head. This arm here is a little bit longer than this, but it looks visually better. Would be a mistake. For some people, it would. But is it working in the drawing? Yeah, it's working. But I can fix a little bit here and a little bit here. But don't start holding way back. Allow yourself to make those mistakes. Of course, we can be difficult. We want to be perfect, but we won't be perfect. Like, I had a teacher. She passed away 2 years ago, but she, on my first day of class in college with her, she said one thing that, and it is important. When you make a mistake, you have two options. You go back and fix it, especially if it is something that it's professional. Go back and fix it if you have time to fix it, or live with it and avoid making it again. It's really powerful, and I think it's a lesson that I tell a lot of people, because it is like that. Oh, but I made a mistake and it got published. Yeah, but now you know that you can avoid it. And believe me, many people don't notice sometimes. I feel there is a book that I recently published that I forgot to turn off one of my sketch layers on it. And my mom noticed when the book was already published. By the way, I'm sharing this, but I hope my editor is not mad at me because of that. But since it's a night scene, it's barely noticeable. My mom noticed because she draws, so she noticed it. But it's something like I'm dealing with it. By the way, the magic of digital artwork is that you can use this, like her boot here. I think that I drew better. I don't know if this leg is working around. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm sitting up here and just kind of engaged, just kind of staring at the screen right now. So I don't draw as much as I should. So the people that do, I'm just like, oh my God, this is awesome.
I don't consider, I know many people who draws like that. I don't consider myself the best artist in the world, and nobody is, but I'm still trying to get my YouTube channel back to post just process. I like to watch video process of people drawing too. It's a really great learning experience, because sometimes you are curious how they did that. Sometimes it's just a simple brush stroke or a filter. It's nothing magical or anything like that. Oops. Pink bucket here, just to make it quick. And I think people get scared. By the way, don't be afraid to talk with others. By the way, it's something I'm trying to do more, because people are not as scary as they look on the internet. By the way, artists love to talk about their work, by the way. It's something. So if you show interest, of course, be kind, be respectful, and don't act like, one thing that I avoid doing, I like that drawing you did. Why you don't draw more like that? Because I don't. And sometimes it's something on the spur of the moment. So you can't one thing I like to do is redoing some old artwork that I did, but I avoid doing that because people start comparing. The internet sometimes can be really ruthless. Start comparing, oh, but the old one looks better. In your opinion. It's like, oh no, but I don't care. It's if you want the old one. I think she looks cute. Let me flip. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at her head is a little bit still wonky. I learned this flip technique with one of my teachers, but on paper. When you're drawing with paper, you can flip the paper and check out. It's just for the proportions, really. But on digital, it's something so easy and fast and magical because you can fix and copy and not lose a thing. Let's see. I think I still need to fix a little bit of this arm here. But I think we are almost, she's still sketch, but what else? I can make her to look like a baker. I think I'm going to give her a magical cooking book because she just looks like a chef, right?
Right.
So like this, a little bit sketch. Sometimes just in the coloring, let's see. I think she looks really cute. What do you think?
I would agree. Yes.
She looks cute.
Now, Howard, is there a quick key or a shortcut you're using to flip those when you're looking at it?
This one I made myself. I went and I'm sorry if my Photoshop is not in English, but you can go to here, keyboard shortcut, and you go here. Here and shows all the shortcuts, and then I went to an edit, and mine is Command F.
Okay.
To flip around, just to make it quicker, because we'll have to go to image, edit, transform, and flip like this. Oh, okay. It's so long. There's nothing, but it's just shortcuts. I make shortcuts also for selection, but that's not the point. I think that we can make her look. Sometimes, let's see. I'm going to see. Let me check I'm going to show other things. Since we have already our fairy here, let me show something from my work here. Let's see. That is not fan art, by the way. Sadly, to make success in the internet, sometimes you have to do fan art. I hope that my computer works with me, right? Computer. It's not working around, but let's see. I think her eyelashes here. But I have a lot of experience I like drawing cute things. I think that kind of obvious, but I'm not going to render her because we are almost done here, but I'm going to give another pass. But let's see. From my past work here, get something really, really cute here that I did lately. That is not fan art. Check here.
What's her name? What do you want to call her? I'm talking to my daughter. Hold on.
I don't know what name.
No, I'm talking to my daughter. Hold on.
Oh, she can name her.
You said Chelsea? Chelsea. Okay.
Chelsea?
She said
Chelsea the baker?
I like that.
And she likes to bake magical cupcakes. Oh, there you go. More magical cupcakes here. Let's make some floating magical cupcakes to give a little bit of magic. And she likes to bake magical cupcakes to feed the hungry fairies.
I love that.
And make everybody happy, because everybody happy when they eat cupcakes.
I'm sitting up here. I'm already trying to figure out exactly how I would rig the eyes, because those lashes are gorgeous.
Yeah, I go around just with my hand, right? So it's sometimes when I'm vectoring, one thing I learned from my dad is do like this. I'm going to show this really quick, but it's a really, you go with the paint tool and you work around. I hope it's something that gives an effect, but it's technique I learned from him, that you go with the black and then you go here and you clean. You can also go with the eraser if you have a little bit of a steady hand.
Right.
And it makes look like, and then you go here and then you have the eyelashes. You go here, clean it up and follow. There's a lot of ways to render a work. It's just like, oh, you want lineless or you want colored or just inked, right? But let me see here. I avoid doing this technique because it takes a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the result is really, really cute. Let me see. Let me turn it off. Like this. And you go cleaning around. It takes a lot of time, but you have a fully completed eye. And just by erasing it and clean, you can leave a little bit of it gives a really cute effect, but like this, you can have this. There you go. It's like you're cleaning things up and you have a almost finished rendered eye.
Nice. That is a cool trick.
But it takes time. It takes around 2 or 3 days to properly render it. If you want, sometimes going with a brush, it's faster, but it's sometimes I make this. There's one, let me see how, since it's here. It's my self-portrait, but I think it can work around. I did this last year about, let's see, come on, Photoshop, show up. I like to draw myself with dot eyes because I think it's cuter and my eyes aren't that large. So let's see if Photoshop works around with me. Come on, guy. Oh, it's almost spooky season. Are you doing this to me? But I think that, will this work? I don't know.
Also, are you using a Cintiq or an Intuos? What are you using?
I'm using a Cintiq, my 10-year-old Cintiq that I bought with the money of my first job, by the way.
Oh, cool.
It was my investment. I highly Cintiq, but I worked with Intuos with no problem. It's just this little drawing I did last year. It's cute.
Yes.
And with dot eyes, you can make it like this larger or smaller. But one thing that I like about book illustration is that you don't have to be as precise as with animation, because in animation you have to put every single thing on its place. So it can be a little bit, but because you're working with more people.
Right.
And you have to make a cleaner work. It's the nature of the beast. So I really like to work with animation. At first I wanted to be an animator, but I realized that I'm better not. I do being an animator because I'm a little bit impatient, and it's already really hard to render stuff. I'm not rendering, by the way. It's just doing a cleaning job like this. But about with illustration, you can be, unless you're doing an animation that is more free, that is more loose, that I see a lot of people doing. When it's what I can say, it's when it's more commercial, like more like you're doing an animated show, you have to make a little bit cleaner style. I never been the lead of anything, so I only did collaborative. I worked around other people's style sometimes. Or, of course, my oldest client that I have, she wants to pay the style that I want. I can't show because of contract reasons. The book I recently finished,
Right.
Sadly, but one of the things that we have this author here in Brazil that it's Monteiro Lobato, and he has one of his works just entered the public domain. It's one of his most famous works. Is the City of Pica-Pau Amarelo, and it's the only thing I can say about the work is that she asked me to create the characters from that book, but avoiding other depictions of those characters that already exist because they are already popular here. They are already ingrained in our culture, in our pop culture. So there are a lot of versions of them. It's like, I don't know, a solid example for children books. For example, what can I say for American equivalent? Let's say it's Curious George, by the way, one that I'm remembering. Curious George. You can't, there is a style of Curious George, but if it went to public domain, people would draw him in other style. I know it has already established style.
Right.
For Curious George, but let's say, a client came and asked, I want a different George. So that's pretty much it, the example. So I really wanted to show everybody, but I can't. That's the problem of professional work. Sometimes you want to show your work, but you can't.
Yes, the infamous NDA, the non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So let me jump back to my screen. So yeah, that was... Quit that. Hold on. Yeah, that was Susana Rodriguez. And like I said, the full interview is going to be posted up next week. Also, I had mentioned earlier that I'm going to start doing a Tony Teach podcast. It was a couple of weekends ago. It was like Susanna and I were chatting back and forth. I was like, what are you doing? I want to actually see, like, send me one of your sketches. I want to see if I can do the line art over in Harmony. And so we were just doing that. Like, I was kind of like inking out one of her drawings because it was weird. I think she's, I want to say in Sao Paulo, they're like an hour ahead of where I am in Atlanta. So, but, let's see. I have our eyelid. All right, and then I put that into, let me see, normal. It looks like that, like this large thing that's there. And then I said take the entire composite, or at least take, excuse me, not the entire composite. We'll take the eye, this shape here, and we're feeding this into our cutter node, which means it's not visible except for where the eye is considered, or where the eye is. So what I want to do here, I'm going to extend these guys out a little bit here. Let's go to what? Frame, I don't know, 60? Sounds good. Yeah, by default, everything in Harmony is at 60 anyway, so let's do F5. Thank you. Okay, where did your other part go? Oh yeah, to everybody else. There we go. All right, so in theory, what I could do, see if we can get away with this. Let's see, that's one keyframe there, F6. What if I went, I don't know, 5 frames later, dropped in a keyframe, F6, and then here, we'll pull this down, not make it too perfect. Let's bend that line a little bit. Bend this line, thank you. Bend this line here. There we are. Click off of that. That's not terrible. To be totally honest, I really wanted to have that little piece move along with it. And I probably could. All right, not too shabby. Da, 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 da. Now, hello, Mr. Gato. Senor Don Gato. Let's see, where are we? Okay. I think I'm okay with that. I think I like it better than the solutions I had yesterday. I'm curious if I can get away with drawing a weird little shape on that eyelid. Now it's being deformed right now, so we'll find out in a second if this is going to be silly or not. Well, one on the wrong layer. Thank you. We go back to my node view. Go to our eyelid, go to drawings. What happens if I draw this here? Go to camera view. Well, one, yeah, that broke pretty badly there. So how about we not do that? Yeah, got enough for the slider there. Now, pretty much I'm going to add a slider into this. Deformations, I don't like calling them deformations. What is that, an envelope deformer? So ENV, V as in Victor, thank you. We probably still need a peg for that, so let's do Command P. Where do I want to put that peg? Where's that pivot point? Probably around the same place as the eye. Kind of right there at the tear duct a little bit. Okay. So in theory, I think I'm comfortable with that eye now. I like that better than what I did yesterday. I do almost want to change that, do a little squash and stretch with that, but it's neither here nor there. Meanwhile, what time are we at? We are at 11:07. Okay, cool. Got a few more minutes. Can I see? There's the iris. Yes, there's the eye. Let me do this really quick. Detach this peg because a good habit to get into would be I'm going to make all of my pegs at the same time. So it'll be the eye peg, the main shape, then the eye plus the iris, then it'll be the eye master, which will include the eyelid. So select the eye. Let's do Command P, Command P, Command P. Meaning, going to line all of these up because they're going to share the same pivot point. All right, so if I select all three of these, then I can move their pivot where I want it to be, kind of at the tear duct a little bit here. Looks good. And the second one is not the eye, it'll be the eye plus the iris. Dash peg, and the top one will be our master peg because it's controlling everybody. But the deal is, you want to actually, if you're trying to have the same pivot point, it's good practices to actually link them all at the same time. Doing it afterwards can get tricky. So eye plus iris grabs the iris there, as well as the eye master grabs that. So in theory, got that going on. Excellent. Now, do we have time to do something slightly crazy? Maybe. So I did not go in and add front to all of these, and I should have. You know what? Let's make our lives a little easier. Select all of these. We'll do big mistake. Wrong thing. How about this little guy here? Set priorities, or set properties, excuse me. Nope, not you. Wow. Add prefix. Okay. Insert the text. Let's do F underscore. Looks like okay. Great. Instead of FT, I'll just do F this time. F for front. Looks good. And we'll come over here, do the same thing. We'll add in prefix F underscore. Cool. All right. Now, what does all of that mean? We have our little pieces working. I'm going to grab all of these, including our little comp there. What is that over there? Oh yeah, forgot the eyebrow. Duh. Eyebrow needs a peg. Command P. Dude, why didn't you have a peg earlier? I don't know. And the eyebrows peg, where is that going to be? Probably here-ish. So it's like, I think maybe. Let's get rid of that little dude. Da, 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 da. Why do I keep rotating that? Always fun. There we go. All right, so we'll move this up top near our little eyebrow there. Now, this design, I can probably get away with placing that there because that way, that makes a little more sense there. Okay. And then this gets attached to my master, like there. Alrighty. So, save. And again, if you're wondering where the heck did I get this from, I downloaded this original image from Vecteezy and then split it up into layers inside of, where is that? Illustrator. And the thing with bringing something from Illustrator into Harmony, you do need to save it to an older version of Illustrator. Like I usually use CS2. Otherwise, you can kind of run into some issues with maybe it not importing at all or only importing certain parts. All right, so let's save that. And we'll go to our next panelist here. This is someone I've known, and I keep forgetting the year, but someone who I've known for, a while. But I first met them when they were a student in my animation class, and they are now a grown-up doing their thing, not only doing animation but doing an incredible job with social media and being like a consultant and concierge, if you will. So this is Josephine Russ-Sloan coming up, and I think that will take us right up to almost right to lunch. So let's see. Hey, this is Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit, and I am with my friend, colleague, and it feels weird to say, and so I won't necessarily say exactly how we met, but it's like, well, hell, I guess I have to say it now. My former student, Josephine Russ-Sloan. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm glad that it's finally fall, so we get to enjoy the nice cooler weather, and I get to wear cute sweaters.
Sweaters are awesome. Yeah, I think fall is probably my favorite. At least it used to be. I think I'm getting older now, so I've got like, oh, you have mold allergies, so I can't go outside in the woods. So it's like, anyway, so tell everyone, or actually I can kind of tell everyone. I invited Josephine because she is really spectacular with working with social media, and particularly working with like artists and animators in social media. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss completely. But I'm curious on our timing on something, because I did mention that, because I first met Josephine, like, I want to say
It was 2008.
2008. Thank you. I was about to say, I was trying to do the math on that. I was like, how long ago was that? Okay. So
Yes, since I was in high school.
Yes. And you were a student in one of the pre-college animation programs over at SCAD. And it's like, oh, wow, this is kind of cool. And I'm trying not to sound like the stereotypical old guy going like, I am so proud of you. You've actually grown. So, but yeah, it's to see people are still in the business and like working and doing things and still putting out art and stuff like that is really, really awesome. So one, thank you for not just going, yeah, I didn't ask you this.
Once I decided animation was my thing, I never stopped. I always was trying to find a way for me to participate in it, to do better, to learn the skills needed to do animation. That includes doing social media. You may not think that like business and social media is related to art, but it most definitely is. It takes a little thinking outside of the box to get things done, but also knowing how the box works. Because we as artistic people are we're very eccentric. We do a lot of things that in the most loving way normies don't think about. And normal people have a certain way that they like things done or like things seen, but not all artists can form to that. And that's where you get like the starving artist archetype, is because our current world is just not built for the sustainability of that without being somehow inside a box.
I like that. And that was definitely deep on that. I'm curious with, I know one of the things of like people like, well, I don't want to do social media. It's like, if you're an artist starting out, or if you're someone who's saying, well, what do I do to start? Do I need to be on Facebook, TikTok? Do I need to be on all the different things, or where would you start?
Where would I start? Right now, because of the current landscape of social media, I would start with a TikTok. And I would recommend making it as simple as possible for you. You're not going to, especially if you're just starting out, to show off your artwork, unless you have an incredible amount of backload of work. You're not going to have a lot of following in the beginning. With anything, it's about consistency and finding a rhythm that works for you. I used to, when I was doing social media for other clients, I used to really push the whole, oh, you have to have a brand, oh, you have to have a style, but really rhythm. Rhythm is going to be the most important thing for you. And, I'm using rhythm rather than saying like, oh, well, you have to consistently post, right? Not everybody has the same rhythm in posting. And the social media algorithm is going to continually change every couple of months. That's just how it is. Nobody can fully guess how the social media algorithm works. But the key things that work is finding a rhythm that works for you. And then as you get better in that rhythm, then you build up consistency.
I like that. And I like the, I'm constantly hearing about, like, whether it's doing social media or doing tutorials, I keep hearing the C word, consistency. It's like, but I like the approach of rhythm. That makes a lot more sense. And it doesn't sound as, I don't know, threatening is not the word I'm looking for. But
challenging, difficult, because
yes.
When we think of consistency, we think of that whole builder's life of, oh, you wake up at 5 a.m. and you're already up working and writing in the day, and you have to do that every single day. These kind of nose to the grind, grind culture things, and that works for some people, but it's not sustainable. We as human beings have cycles, we flow in and out. And it's just about finding something that works for you while not being overwhelmed by it. I've learned that from my own personal social media, because I've tried doing like the grind work. It is really hard to do it all on your own. Like when I work with clients, I can do that grind work because, one, it's impersonal, but it's also one of those things where I see more of what needs to be done, and I'm able to help pull that out of a client, versus when I'm doing it myself. There's so many avenues that I want to take for it. And even though I know how to do it, it's still challenging to do it for my own artwork, because you're creating. So that's why I say rhythm when you're doing it for yourself rather than consistency, because the consistency will come. It's finding the rhythm for it. It's finding a regular routine to create the content, because social media is a never-ending creation circle, right? Or cycle.
Right.
And you have things going on in your life, and you can't always adhere to it because you're also wanting to create the artwork, right?
Mhm.
So how do you merge those two together for yourself? How do you find that rhythm for yourself? For me, I find it easy when I am doing my warm-up drawings, where I can hook my phone up and have it do a hyperlapse or a time lapse over my artwork, and then later on in the day, I may be eating lunch, I may be just about to go to bed when I have a quiet moment. I then do a voiceover over it, and then that makes things take me including the drawing, maybe about 40 minutes tops, because the editing of the video only takes, and the voiceover only takes about 10 minutes to do. The video form for me is the easiest, but some people's form might be easier to just take pictures. If you're just a take a picture person, then just use Instagram or Twitter. Those are great, quick places to share a drawing. Now, for both, your following is going to be much slower than TikTok. The TikTok algorithm is set for more authenticity rather than a engagement pay to play.
Okay.
Because a lot of other social media platforms are kind of shifting towards this older way of oh, well, you have to pay to be seen by the audience you already have. And that is concerning because it rewards people who can create fast. But art is not a fast thing. And some people can do art fast, especially with the whole AI art coming in and helping support people in their creation of their work. But it's not always sustainable.
Okay. So my curious question would be, do you think people should just kind of, if you were going on this, should artists kind of dive in on their own? Should they try to hire a consultant, or I guess I'm trying to figure out, for the average artist, because a lot of them are thinking I don't feel like learning another thing. So is it just kind of constantly going in? And let me tie that in with the other question. With TikTok and things like that, is scheduling still a thing, where you can actually do stuff ahead of time, or is it just you got to put it up when it's done?
For TikTok, they have a drafting system. You can't. I know that Hootsuite and other scheduling platforms do have a function where you can schedule, but it still has a little bit of manual involvement to get those things posted. So it would be best specifically for TikTok to find a time that works well for you to post. Yes, the algorithm will, if you look at analytics or anything, it'll say, oh, these are the best times to post, but that is kind of more of a rough guide rather than an exact measurement. Because I personally like to post things in the morning, a little bit before I go down for my morning nap, because I wake up super early right now to take care of some things. And then I'm up for a little bit, and then I go to sleep to catch up on those hours of sleep that I lose. And then I am awake and doing everything that I need to do for the day. So that's around 9 o'clock for me, where I'm posting. And that was the time, even without this wonky schedule, that's around the time 9-10 that I was regularly posting for TikTok. And I still got a really good amount of engagement. Instagram around 10 was about the same time for me to get some decent engagement. And then the other time is around 4, 5, 6, usually when people are getting off work. those kind of times. So I recommend finding a time that's easy for you. Usually noon is not the best, just in a general sense. But I've had posts that I've posted at like 10 o'clock at night that have done pretty well too.
Okay. So I know for me, because I do a lot of, I'm always doing video. So I'm always trying to figure out ways of, because all the different platforms have all these different measurements and sizes. Do you, as far as saving things out, do you just kind of do one size fits all, or do you actually have different sizing or any type of automation that you're using?
So I'm going to sort of tie this into part of the previous question that you asked, because I just realized I never answered that.
Okay.
As far as like when you're a newbie starting out, it would be best to do research some of your favorite artists, see what they're doing. I wouldn't say copy it, but learn from it. Because when you learn from what the success of other artists, you can do better, right? And I would say look at multiple different artists and see how they do it, right? Because again, you're trying to find a rhythm for yourself. Some are really good at posting all 5 stages of their work, where it's like you see the rough drafts, you see the in progress colors, and then you see the finished product, and then you see the finished product on a t-shirt or a stickers or something, and then they post they do another after post where they're sharing the finished project again, right? Because that's about the 5 stages of you posting, and that's just like a good continual cycle. Sometimes people will just post a single drawing, or some people will just do 2 of those 5 steps and just kind of repeat those 5 steps over and over again. And then you'll see some people who do like fan art. Fan art will get you stuff fast, but it's not always going to translate into a large following or into people who really genuinely enjoy your work for you, because they're coming for something that they love, right? So how does that relate into the whole scheduling thing, right? You can hire a consultant like me and get the different rates and get a better perspective on how you want to grow as a social media person, and see which platform is good for you to start out with. But if you already have like an idea of what you want to do, what you like to do, like videos, right? For video, I would definitely recommend doing both YouTube and TikTok. Starting out with YouTube, because you can always break the TikTok stuff into, you can always break YouTube things into smaller format for TikTok.
Okay.
But for each, you do have to have original content for them, so that way you come off as more genuine rather than having like cookie cutter for both the YouTube and the TikTok, because then it doesn't come off as authentic, and it can be like really challenging to push past a certain threshold, because these corporations are in some cases having the algorithm do or look for certain things. Specifically, it's authenticity. What authenticity is, it's hard to describe. That changes from month to month, to week to week, based off of whatever trend is popular. But doing what you are as a creative, and showing who you are, not only through your work but through your personality, is going to get you there. And so YouTube is nice because they finally have a whole system built in where you can set premieres, and schedule out things. Yes, you'll have to do like a whole bunch of back in video editing, but if you have a video that's in between 10 to like 23, 25 minutes, that's a good place to be for YouTube. And then TikTok, sticking in between that 30-second to 1 minute time frame as far as like how long your videos are is really good to keep people's attention, because the difference between TikTok and YouTube is that one, YouTube, you have to decide what you are watching. TikTok, you have to decide whether you want to continue to watch the thing. And that's how they both gauge engagement. Is one is you're choosing what you want to watch, and it goes through and sees that, oh, you like these things. So we're going to choose things for you to watch based off of the things that you like. TikTok is like, okay, we're going to show you a bunch of things. And then after we've shown you a certain amount of things, then we'll show you other things that people have liked based off of how many things we've already shown you.
Okay. I'm liking that. So do you, as far as automation things, I know there's like, there's Hootsuite, there's Buffer, there's...
Planoly, and a whole slew of other things to work with. If you're just starting out, I recommend Planoly. It has a low investment, and you can pay it monthly without feeling like you are overwhelmed.
Okay.
For scheduling for like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. YouTube, it's better to just do it directly in YouTube Studio. And TikTok, it's better to just do it directly with the app, because the app can tell when you are engaging with your community and when you're not. So again, it's that engagement that is really important to participate in. The next one that I would recommend would be Buffer or Hootsuite. Hootsuite is geared more towards businesses. So if you're working with businesses and corporations and things, Hootsuite has a little bit more control and a larger variety of tools. Buffer is great for being able to see your layout, being able to understand your posts, how you want to build up your posts and structures a little bit better. They both offer the same amount of tools. It just depends on what you're wanting out of that.
Okay. And what was the first one you mentioned again? Was it like
Planoly?
Planoly? Okay, Planoly. Okay, got it. Let me think. So my last question, and this is a question we're asking pretty much everyone. Do you think with the advances in software technology, as well as the multiple streaming platforms, in my opinion, there's pretty much never been a better time for independent animators, especially 2D animators, to get out and put out their own thing. Do you think that's true or false? And if so, why?
I think it's true. Right now, there's so many tools available to people that are open source, free to use. Even like professional programs are much easier to access, as well as I mentioned AI art before. AI art can help people visualize things faster. It's a tool. I wouldn't use it as a main thing, but it definitely is a tool to help push your work further. So that way you as an individual can create more and be able to push out your ideas in a more cohesive and easier to understand way. So that way you don't get gatekeeped, because there's always been a lot of gatekeeping as far as creativity goes. And now that those gates are they went from being solid brick walls to bars that you could see through to now it's almost like a picket fence that you can hop. And everybody's trying to hop that fence. So it was definitely a good time to go ahead and get started and work. And learn to work with a way for you. Like if you're suffering, one thing that I would recommend to make sure is to know yourself when you're doing social media, because it is tiring and you can burn yourself out very easily, especially if you have some kind of mental illness, if you're disabled, if you are suffering from any kind of sickness or illness, if you are neurodivergent, if you struggle with ADHD and hyperfixations, those kind of things. The internet is great for being able to help people like hyperfixate on those things and be involved, but it also burns out those kind of people, though, because, like the world is, what is it? Over 25% of the world is neurodivergent in some way or form, probably more than that. That was just the last time I looked at the general statistics, and it's not made for people like that to consistently be on without struggling.
Right.
So learn, if you find yourself in those spaces, learn how you work as a neurodivergent with depression or in any kind of like illness, and then build on top of that. Don't try and work at a normal speed. So that way you don't get burned out, because with the technology, it makes it easier for you to create and to be in those spaces. And it kind of circumvents some of the burnout that you can experience no matter where you are as a person. But I definitely say that those things help as somebody who is neurodivergent to be able to get those things done.
Awesome. And thank you for that. That's a very valid point, because I know for myself, I have to be very careful because with social media being so freaking addictive. I think, what was the thing that I heard someone say the other day? It's kicking in that artificial dopamine. So you're like yes, more. And it's like, wait, I've been here for 5 hours. I haven't even done anything yet. So it's like, you have to be really careful.
Yeah, it definitely plays on that dopamine center. And what I find, if I get stuck in social media, I set a timer.
Ooh.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to be on social media for X amount of time. This is the amount of time that I'm allowing myself to be on a timer, be on the social media. So it's like, oh, I only have 30 minutes. I only set the timer for 30 minutes. Or in some cases, I know Android allows you to do this. I don't know if Apple allows you to do this, but you can set a wellness tracker on your phones and on your computers. And then you set how many hours you will allow yourself to be on a particular app in a day, and then have that be like your hard stop, where it'll just lock you out of the app for the rest of the day.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, definitely recommend that. It's helped me when I've gotten into doom scrolling, because doom scrolling is the worst.
It is. Awesome. Josephine, thank you so much for taking your time to spend with us. And is there anything you want to actually say in closing?
So if you want to interact with me more directly, you can find me at Josephine Animates on pretty much any platform. It's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also, I work with Asifa South, which is a nonprofit animations organization here in the southeast of the U.S. And we are actively doing things to uplift and support the animation community as best as we can. And you can join our Discord or find us on, again, those other social media platforms where you can talk about things that are concerning you within the animation industry, or want to learn how to be better at some of these things. We do workshops and interviews and all sorts of other things to uplift our community. I am the social media manager, so you'll be seeing me around a lot for interviews and just kind of in the background of doing things.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. So this has been Tony Ross for the 2D Animation Virtual Summit and hanging out with my buddy Josephine. Say bye.
Bye bye.
Alrighty. So that was interview number 2. So we're going to be taking a break at noon my time, so in about 15 minutes, and we'll stop on this recording. If you're following us on YouTube as well as on what is that? What thing is that thing called? Facebook. What we usually do is we stop this recording so it's not actually sitting for a full hour. But we will start up another one right up at 1. And if you're looking for it, if you just simply go to animationsummit.net, it should forward automatically to the YouTube playing app. You'll see exactly where that is. So, meanwhile, what I'm going to do is dive back over here to our cat here, wherein we left off. I think I want to add at least a deformer to the eyebrow, which we did not. Now, deformers, the way they work in Harmony Premium, I have access to what is that? Multiple deformers. I have envelope, say bone deformer, curve deformer, envelope deformer. I'm going to use an envelope deformer. Let me turn off the other one for a second. So I'm going to add one to the eyebrow here. So what I'll do is I'll click and drag about a third of the way in. Come to the other side, click and drag about a third of the way in. I'm also curving this to match the curve of the eyebrow there, kind of on the end part here. Let me test this out. Go to my transform tool. All right, that's kind of cool. Let's undo that. Looks good. And we'll go to our node view. Going to change this out. Instead of saying deformation, let's call this something like ENV for envelope. Envelope, one of those. All right, so we basically have our iris that can move around. It's cut by the eye. That's kind of cool. Press R to reset that. We also have this hidden little eyelid that we built in that allows that to kind of close down. Looks kind of cool. And what I want to do from here it's like I am so tempted to add eyelashes on there. So what is that? The best piece of hardware and software to purchase: paper and pencil. Figure out where you want to go ahead of time. But what I want to do is I'll select all of these, all of that little eye there, and let's go ahead and group this. Let's do Command G. That's Control G on a PC. So let's call this front eye group. Now, what I'm doing is basically the gist of what is going to be taught in our upcoming course. We did have a delay on the release of that, but it will be being released. I believe it's next Friday or Monday after next, I think. Where did that little guy go? So yeah, we're doing our what is it? 1000 Vampires, aka make simple production rigs in Toon Boom Harmony. And the idea is building out something that you can set it up where you don't have If you only have a few people working on something, how do you, like maybe one person or two people, how do you still knock out like a 2 or 3 minute episode like every week? Or especially now since you can do like shorts, like 15-second shorts, either on, let's say, Instagram, TikTok, or even like YouTube shorts or something like that. It's a really cool way to build up a following. All right. And yeah, it doesn't have to be like an incredibly complex rig. All right, so we have this little guy here. That's the full eye. If I press the letter D in my node view with that selected, that entire thing disappears. Press A, turn it back on. So what I want to do here, I'm going to clone this group. Meaning, one, I'll go ahead and give myself a peg. Before we go here, let's go to my little pivot points here. Now, one thing about pivot points, they are by default dead center, which is going to come in handy in a few moments here. Let me move you probably to the base of the eye there, just as our little placement there. I'm going to duplicate, or technically I'm not duplicating, I'm going to clone. That would be the word. Going to clone this, and that way I don't have to rebuild this entire thing. La, 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 la. Oh yeah, Eric says thanks, Josephine. Yes, Josephine is awesome. Yeah, what I do know and use about social media is, I'm only halfway doing some of the things she's taught me, but a lot of the stuff that I'm doing for the summit, just based on conversations we had like last year about the summit, like how do we make it bigger, bigger, better, getting people to know about it, yada yada yada. It's still tricky because I'm not automating as much as I should be, but that's another story. Meanwhile, front eye group. Let's go up to our drop-down menu here. Come down to nodes, and I want to clone this to drawings only. Only the drawings, meaning I don't want any of the animations that may or may not be there. So we'll do clone selected. Drawings only, great. And here we are, this is front eye group. Double click. Let's change this one to the back eye group. Get rid of that one. And if I go inside here, by the way, how do I go inside the group? I can literally click this little arrow. And everyone is saying F. There's a couple of them that are saying FT. We'll make this one back. Make this one back as well. Now the rest, there's only a couple of them that the reason I'm changing these individually is because these were still set up as FT and I forgot to change them to just, I don't know, F. All right, everyone else is F. Are we? Yes, I think so. So if I grab these guys, hold down my command key, add in these other guys, come up, and then we're going to say the prefix insert bk underscore remove f, not capital F underscore. All right, so in theory that's all looking like back. That's kind of cool. And let me do this. Probably need a composite just for the eyes, like the front eye and the back eye, even though they're not, like the back eye's not there yet. So let's do Control H. La, 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 la. Let's do eyes, comp. I'm going to hold down my Option key. Let's pull this in. And let's pull the other eye in. Now, it's a clone, so it's literally sitting directly on top of the other one here. So how do we change this out? Let's select this group here, and we'll do Command P for our pivot. I'm not worried about where that pivot placement is going to be, mainly because this is a character that when it was designed, it's pretty much dead center of everything. And whenever you add a peg, the pivot point is dead center of the camera view. All right, so where it is right now actually kind of works in our favor. All right, so what I will do here, let's go to our transform tool, and pivots down here. I've got the transform tool, I've got the back group selected. If I simply press the number, sorry to say letter, press the number 4 on my keyboard, it flips that clone. All right, so that's there and all. Only, ooh, that's not good. We'll figure out something in a second. I have to double check that I do something wrong here. Click on the eye. Okay, I'm not in trouble. Good. Well, the eye worked out there for what we're doing. Sort of. Anyway, what I'm going to do here is, I've been doing this earlier. If I press the letter R, it'll reset this and it kind of snaps back over. Not what I want. So I'm going to have to bring in a new node. This is called our static. Like static transformation. What does that mean? Let's pull this guy in. Holding down my option key, by the way, I can pull this into the cable. And what I want to do with this, if I double click on here, I'm going to use this top button that says Bake Immediate Parents Transformation. Translation, we used our peg to flip this guy. And I'm going to say, by the way, can you grab all that information but bake it into our transformation? So if I click on bake, it snaps back over there. Why? It's because the peg was a negative, and I just said for this guy to be a negative also. Two negatives equals, they kind of cancel each other out there. So once that's done, I'm going to hold down my little option key, get rid of my peg, and the eye is there. And now let's call you front eye static or something, or place. It. Cool, and we'll add a peg here. Command P. Let's grab our pivot point for this one, probably there-ish. And this will be our back eye placement. Coolness, I think. All right. Not too shabby. I think I want to do one extra thing though. Let's close that up. Let's see. I'm gonna grab these top two. What is that? 1, 2, 5. Copy those keys. Come over here and see if I can paste them. Thank you. Alrighty. And oh yeah. Why does that look weird? It's because this one closes, then I told it to open it back up there. Not a terrible deal breaker. All right, eye is open initially on the front eye. Let's grab this keyframe, Command C. Come over to what? Frame 9, paste it so it's back open. All right, so that closes. This one opens back up. That's cool. What I'm basically doing is setting up an animation here, where it's 1 through 5 is both eyes blinking, and then I want to have it technically 11 through 15. I'll have just one of those blinking. Copy that little dude, paste that there, and copy this initial back eye closing, paste it there. So the front one is closing, they both open back up, cool. Then this one closes, opens back up, cool. Then we'll grab the animation. Let's grab all those frames, copy, Command C, Control C on PC. So I'm setting these up to build out a simple animation slider. So that way I don't have to come up here and control these at all. So I have both eyes blinking. Then I have one eye blink. And the other eye blink. Da, 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 da. Not too shabby. And what I'm going to do when we get back is start adding in some controllers. Like a little slider controller here. Use our slider wizards to control not only the eyes, but probably the mouth. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do anything with the eyebrows at all. But at the very least, let me mark these little guys here. So the front eye, let's grab, quit it. All these frames here, and there. And click up top. And if I say scene marker, can I say create scene marker? Yes. Orange? Sure. And we'll just call this both blink. 1 through 9? Sure. And there we have it. It works there pretty cool. All right. Let's see. I'm not sure if we're getting any of our Facebook messages. Have to check on that. Yeah, I think I've only gotten whatchamacallit chats today, YouTube chats, but I'll see if I can check that over lunch. Ba-ba-ba. So yeah, this is where we are so far. And if this is helpful to you, definitely check out, like I said, our course. We're getting ready, where it's still finishing up on some of the last chapters, but we have a brand new course coming out. It's like making simple production rigs in Toon Boom Harmony. You can get information at 1000vampires.com. It's there. Da, 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 da. And yeah, that little guy there. Yoink. So, we're going to sign off, grab some lunch, and rest for a second. We'll be back on at 1 p. We'll be back on in an hour, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where we'll have an interview with Marisa Livingston, and she is the lead character designer on Star Trek Lower Decks. Why am I forgetting the name? I'm not calling out studios in case I call the wrong one. So we'll see y'all back in an hour. We are going to sign off. If you're looking for, hey, how do we find the link? Just simply go back to animationsummit.net and we'll be updating where that's forwarding to. So you'll see the YouTube link at that point. All right. Going to pause, grab some lunch, stretch your legs, and we'll be back after lunch. Oh, yes. And I think we're going to do our first giveaways today. We're going to be giving away an annual license to Harmony and an annual license to Storyboard Pro. Thanks to our lovely sponsors, Thanks to our lovely sponsor, Toon Boom. And we'll be doing that at right after Maurice's interview. All right. So I'll see y'all back in about an hour.